Another reason I left religion and Christianity is number 15. Church teaches abusive power structures. Now, for those who haven't grown up or experienced the extremist fundamentalist part of Christianity, you may have never experienced power structures. Basically, the Southern Baptist, Calvinistic, fundamentalist denominations, Southern Baptist is a pretty big one, or just Baptist, they're run by white, straight men. There is no access for anyone who does not fit that criteria to be in positions of power. Gay or queer people aren't allowed to be in positions of power. Women of any age, married, single, or divorced, or widowed, are not allowed to be in any positions of authority. The only exception to this is teaching women and children, specifically boys under the age of 16. So in groups that are controlled by white, cis, straight men, don't permit any different groups or different genders, orientations to be in, even the mildest forms on the hierarchy structure. You get what we call power dynamics. If you've ever been in therapy, you learn about power imbalances, where a therapist, a doctor, or someone who has a degree or more experience has more leverage in relationships. Employee to employer is another good example. When you have power imbalance, where one person is usually a cis, straight, white man who has multiple degrees, has been called into a position, and has at least 80% of the church's support. And they believe that everything mostly what they think, feel, or experience is accurate communication between a God and themselves. You create a supernatural, what I call complex power dynamics. And this isn't just between children and adults, but it's also between adults and adults, between leaders and minor leaders. And when the minor players, the subjected members cannot ever be in positions of authority, question authority, have doubts, speak without any filter, you create a toxic work environment, a toxic worship environment, a toxic learning environment. Church is all about teaching, learning, and informing. And if women and children, or people who don't fit the stereotypical married with kids status, you have people who can't have a say, because the only time members vote is if it's something that impacts the whole church, or it's something that will impact how they use or distribute funds. So women have little to no voting capability when it comes to being an elder, a deacon, or a pastor. They're almost never inside the room where the elders, deacons, pastors are discussing, voting, or making decisions. If there's a budget, almost never are women in any church I've ever been in allowed to sit in. There's very little transparency. Now, if you've ever attended a church or a temple that was transparent, then that is a great thing. I've only been in 1 out of 7 of the churches that had some degree of transparency. You usually had to address the leadership committee, and then they would choose if they wanted to disclose how they use money, how they vote, and how the whole institution runs. It's very sexist, very misogynistic, and very class and race-centered. And anyone in a position of authority whose orientation has been discovered as anything but cis, and straight, you are immediately removed from any position of authority. And in some of these extreme churches, you can no longer be a member. They throw you out or shun you. And Baptists are very well known for all of that. And it's such a toxic environment. Even in America, voters can protest. They can vote. They can opt out